This may be an unpopular opinion. This is what the gaming community has asked for from Xbox and from Bethesda. We just didn't realize it would look like this. Welcome to Starfield Signal, your place for all things Starfield. And unfortunately, we're actually come today with some bad gaming news. So Microsoft has decided to close 4 Bethesda studios. Let's get into the news and I'll tell you all about it. The first thing I wanted to take a look at here is on Bloomberg, just to add a little bit of credibility to this story. Jason Schreier from Bloomberg reports on this. He's very dependable within the gaming news cycle. And just want to say he reports on this. Microsoft's Xbox division is shutting down 4 Bethesda studios. And those studios are Arcane Austin, Alpha Dog Studios, Roundhouse Games, and Tango Gameworks. Now, we'll get into what each of those studios is known for here in just a moment, but I wanted to start off here for just a little bit of credibility. This isn't just a rumor floating around. Several outlets are reporting on this. I actually want to go over to IGN first because they have the full email from Matt Booty. I want to take a look at their write-up. They did a great job. Wesley Yinpool from IGN wrote this up. So towards the end of the video, I'll actually go through and read this email, but just to kind of give you the good nuggets that, well, not good, this is bad news for sure, but just to give you what you need to know right now, I'm just going to take away a few key things. We're going to look at what each of these studios is known for, what is planned to happen to them, and then at the end, I'll read through the email. So if you're just listening to this, you kind of know what's going on, and then I'll have some thoughts of my own at the end as to some of the real reasons why this is happening based on what we've seen over the past couple of years. So let's start off here. Matt Booty, head of Xbox Game Studios, says these changes are grounded in prioritizing high-impact titles and further investing in Bethesda's portfolio of blockbuster games and beloved worlds, which you have nurtured over many decades. Okay, so that's kind of the leading principle that is leading them to make all of these changes. Now, let's take a look at each of these studios that unfortunately are closing, which means people are losing jobs. Even if some people are keeping their jobs, it may mean they have to move somewhere else, uproot their family and go somewhere else in, this gaming industry climate where they're not even guaranteed a job 6 months from now. This is getting to be a really old song, and I know we're all tired of hearing of closures and layoffs. I do believe that this round of layoffs and closures was included in Microsoft's announced layoffs earlier this year, and it's so interesting. We'll talk about that at the end of the video. But for now, Arcane Austin. Let's start there. That's probably the most high-profile closure. I want to go to their website first. And so they're known for Arcane is known for Deathloop, Redfall that came out last year. And I said Deathloop, Prey, and Dishonored are their big franchises. And of course, Arcane Lyon, based in France, is developing Blade right now. And Arcane Austin was the sole developer on Redfall, or the lead developer on Redfall, I should say. Prey and Dishonored. So those were kind of their big things. All of their games are pretty much critically well received. There's no dispute in the industry that they are A-tier level developer. And so it's really sad to see someone who, a team that makes really great games just never really find their footing in our modern gaming climate. Let's go to their Wikipedia page real quick. So just as kind of a snapshot of all they've done. Like I said, they kind of rose to prominence once they developed Dishonored. That came out during the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, Xbox One kind of transition window there. Dishonored came out in 2012, quickly followed up by Dishonored 2. So Arcane has a great history and a rich portfolio of just really great games, except for Redfall is probably the most notable, what you could say, flop in their catalog. Wolfenstein Youngblood was also not received well. However, that was co-developed by Arcane Lyon and Machine Games. So not really an Arcane Austin issue there. But Redfall was definitely led by Arcane Austin, supported by Roundhouse Studios, which let's actually just go to them next. Roundhouse Studios was formerly known as Human Head Studios, and they had a really good catalog of games as well, dating all the way back to 2000 for their first game, Rune. And they actually just released a follow-up to that, Rune 2, back in 2019, so not too long ago. And then it was shortly after that, they had to close, or they reformed as a new studio, Roundhouse Studios, under Bethesda Softworks. And it looks like they're not credited as developing anything on their own since Rune 2, since they became Roundhouse Studios. It looks like they've been in mostly a support role. And if we look back again to Arcane Studios, Arcane Austin, down here at Redfall, let me get out of the way here. This is over here on the right hand of the screen, developed by Arcane and Roundhouse Studios. So Roundhouse was a support for Redfall, which again is odd that they're closing, and we'll get into this again at the end of the video whenever I read the email, but it says that Roundhouse is going to be kind of brought into ZeniMax Online Studios to support the Elder Scrolls Online, but Arcane Austin is just being closed. So again, kind of some weird things going on here. Let's go ahead and look at Alpha Dog Games real quick. The only thing notable they've had under the Bethesda banner is Mighty Doom, the mobile game. This, again, is curious because we all assumed, I think, that after Bethesda's acquisition of Activision King, right, that they would really lean into mobile development. And it's possible they still are, and just having their own mobile development under Alpha Dog Games was redundant, and they didn't want to axe or close any of the King studios. So maybe that's what we're seeing here. There is no mention in the email if Alpha Dog employees are going to be moved over anywhere specifically, but hopefully they'll have some room at King to move them into to continue developing the mobile side of Bethesda's strategies. And then let's look at Tango Gameworks, and then we'll get back into the specifics of that email, and I'll give some of my thoughts on the matter. Tango Gameworks is known for The Evil Within, Ghostwire Tokyo, and then Hi-Fi Rush that came out, that was shadow dropped March at the spring Xbox showcase, and had a great critical reception. Commercially, I think the shadow drop kind of helped just to give it some hype, but just not a lot of people played it. Also curious about Tango Gameworks is, one of the reasons Microsoft was so interested in acquiring Tango Gameworks under the Bethesda banner was because they really wanted to lean into and have a big step into the Japanese gaming market. And Tango was a great kind of foothold in that market already. There's even some great write-ups linked here under the references under their Wikipedia page. And so they're kind of just shutting that avenue down now. Very interesting. All right, let's go back to the article on IGN. Okay, I'll read this to you, and then I'll have a fair comment here. I like that they provide as much information as they can at this time. So whenever we're kind of asking questions about, okay, well, how many people are losing their jobs and where are they going? What does this mean? We get a little bit of information, and then we can maybe make some other assumptions based off some other things we know. I'll get into that later. Okay, so Matt Booty says in his email, in an email to staff sent by Matt Booty, head of Xbox Games, Microsoft blamed the cuts on reprioritization of titles and resources. And here's the email that was verified by IGN and Jason Schreier of Bloomberg and several other outlets. Matt Booty writes, "Today I'm sharing changes we are making to our Bethesda and ZeniMax teams. These changes are grounded in prioritizing high-impact titles and future investing in Bethesda's portfolio of blockbuster games and beloved worlds which you have nurtured over many decades. To double down on these franchises and invest to build new ones requires us to look across business requires us to look across the business to identify the opportunities that are best positioned for success. This reprioritization of titles and resources means a few teams will be realigned to others and that some of our colleagues will be leaving us. Here are the changes going into effect. Arcane Austin, this studio will close, with some members of the team joining other studios to work on projects across Bethesda. Arcane Austin has a history of making impactful and innovative games, and it is a pedigree that everyone should be proud of. Redfall's previous update will be its last, as we end all development on the game. So Redfall is done. Redfall is done. The game and its servers will remain online for players to enjoy, and we will provide make-good offers to players who purchase the Hero DLC. Personally, I had no idea that DLC was even available for Redfall. Was that like a premium edition thing that was included at launch? I don't remember. Or was this something that came out later that people could purchase? Very interesting, considering, I know they made a few promises, like just kind of updates and support for the game. I didn't know they were developing DLC. As far as make good offers to the players, I mean, that has to be like just a straight up refund, right? I mean, I don't think you could offer them, I don't know, like caps or something in Fallout to make up for that. It just has to be a refund. Continuing on, he writes, Alpha Dog Studios. This studio will also close. We appreciate the team's creativity in bringing Doom to new players. Mighty Doom will be sunset on August 7th, and we will be turning off the ability for players to make any purchases in the game. So it seems like that's just going away. Like even if you have it now on your phone or your iOS device, it's just going away. I looked for it in the App Store and could not find it. So it's already down. I don't know if it requires an internet connection to start up. If anyone knows for sure, leave that in the comments. If you have it on your phone, will you be able to keep it, or will it just not work anymore? Let me know if you have any insight into that. Next, Tango Gameworks. Tango Gameworks will also close. We are thankful for the contributions to Bethesda and players around the world. Hi-Fi Rush will continue to be available to players on the platforms it is today. It recently just launched for, did it come out on, I should have, let's see here. Let's go back to Tango Gameworks. Hi-Fi Rush. It is on Windows, Xbox Series X and S, and PlayStation 5. It did not come out on Switch. That's what I was kind of wondering. That was a rumor. It never did. So it will continue to be available on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and the Windows Store. Going back to the email here. Roundhouse Games. The team at Roundhouse Games will be joining ZeniMax Online Studios, ZOS. Roundhouse has played a key role in many of our recent game launches, and bringing them into ZOS to work on the Elder Scrolls Online will mean we can do even more to grow that world that millions of players call home. Whew. Okay, so that's a lot. So that gives you a breakdown of each of the studios that's closing, what the plans are for them. And he continues to clarify a little bit about the strategy and the vision for what this means moving forward, and then I'll give some of my thoughts. With this consolidation of our Bethesda Studios teams, so that we can invest more deeply in our portfolio of games and new IP, a small number of roles across select Bethesda publishing and corporate teams will also be eliminated. So it sounds like they're working on eliminating a lot of redundancies since their acquisition, and also just general layoffs for tightening the belt to make it look good for, to make those spreadsheets look good for their investors, unfortunately. Continuing on, he says, those whose roles will be impacted will be notified today, and we ask that you please treat your departing colleagues with respect and compassion. We will provide our full support to those who are impacted in today's notifications and through their transitions, including severance benefits informed by local laws. Okay. These changes are not a reflection of the creativity and skill of the talented individuals at these teams or the risks they took to try new things. I acknowledge that these changes are also disruptive to the various support teams across ZeniMax and Bethesda that bring our games to market. We are making these tough decisions to create capacity to increase investment in other parts of our portfolio and focus on our priority games. Bethesda remains one of the key pillars of Xbox with a strong portfolio of amazing games and thriving communities. As we look to the future, there is an impressive lineup of games on the horizon. In 2024 alone, we have Starfield Shattered Space, Fallout 76, Skyline Valley, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and The Elder Scrolls Online Golden Road. As we align our plans and resources to best set ourselves up for success in this complex and changing industry, our teams across Arcane Lyon, Bethesda Game Studios, id Software, Machine Games, ZeniMax Online Studios, and the Bethesda Publishing and corporate teams will be well positioned to build new IP, explore new game concepts, and expand on our existing franchises. Matt. So that's a lot. I'll link this article in here. There's also some great, not some great, but there's also some more emotional context, maybe from some of the developers that they mentioned in here who are tweeting support and their own feelings about this. Back here in the Constellation Lodge, this feels a little bit more comfortable after this bad news. So here's my thoughts on the matter. Obviously, it's horrible. All right, it sucks. People are losing their jobs. People are losing their livelihoods. People who move their family across the country or to a different country now do not have that security that they thought they had, and that just stinks. I'm well aware of that emotional trauma that causes, and my heart goes out to everyone. And anything that I can feel like I can do to support them, I will. If you are the kind of person who likes to tweet and vocalize your support in online communities, definitely get out there and just let those people know that you're thinking about them, that this isn't lost on you. I'm really not a Twitter guy, so this is kind of my version of that. But for all the people, if you're watching this and man, you're just finding out today you lost your job, hey, this country boy from the U.S. South, like I'm so sorry that you're having this to go through this. I'm sure you have kids, have a family, have dreams and ambitions, but I wish you the best and hope things work out. Now, this may be an unpopular opinion, not an unpopular opinion, but maybe an unpopular hot take. This is, I'm not going to say exactly, but this is what the gaming community has asked for. This is what the gaming community has asked for from Xbox and from Bethesda. We just didn't realize it would look like this. For years, Microsoft has kind of been under this scrutiny where, okay, you want to sell Xboxes and you want to sell your games, make better games, right? All last year, that was the whole conversation. That, hey, if you make better games, you'll sell more consoles. If you make better games, you'll sell more games. If you make better games, then you'll have a better positioning whenever you're competing with PlayStation and Nintendo and Steam, right? And so I feel like they've taken that and they said, okay, to make better games, we need to focus on our prioritizing high impact. Let me go back up to it where they say prioritizing high impact titles and further investing in Bethesda's portfolio of blockbuster games and beloved worlds which you have nurtured over many decades. We'll come back to that in a moment too. And so this feels kind of like a gut punch, but really I think this is what we've asked for. We just didn't realize it would look like this. We were hoping it would look different, but in an economic climate where nothing's expanding right now, right? Everything's tightening except for AI, right? AI is going gangbusters. This is their response to that. They say, okay, you want us to make better games? We're going to have to tighten our belt. We're going to have to get rid of all this new stuff that we were exploring and trying to let creative teams be creative and trying to give people, leeway to do their own thing. If you want us to make better games, we got to bring all these people together and cut down on redundancies and focus on what are the best games we can make, what is going to get us sales, what is going to sell consoles, what is going to get us back into the race, and how can we do this in an economically feasible and a sustainable way. And this is one of the big steps to that direction. Now, talking about not Bethesda publisher, but Bethesda Game Studios, what have we been asking for? Think about it. What have we been asking for? We've been asking for less time, less development time in between their major franchises, right? Elder Scrolls, Fallout, now Starfield. Even if you're not a Starfield fan, or even if you are a Starfield fan, whatever you line, they have these three tentpoles now, these three tentpole franchises that they're going to cycle through. As of like today, or as of yesterday, for all we knew it, there was going to be about 6 to 8 years in between each proper entry into those series. That's a console generation, right? I mean, that's a whole console generation. So do you think Microsoft is happy with having, okay, we got the Xbox Series. Let's launch Starfield on it. Okay, Xbox Series X2 or whatever stupid name they come up with will have Elder Scrolls. Okay, Xbox Series X3 or whatever stupid name they come up with. Okay, that'll be our Fallout generation. And then so on. You think they're happy with that? No. Not at all. There's so much money left on the table there. What they're wanting to do is bring all these support teams in, and not just for the Bethesda Game Studios, right? We also have Machine Games. They're bringing in this new IP of Indiana Jones. Definitely going to be a series there. It's definitely going to be a new franchise that they're going to want new entries in every 4 to 5 years, maybe. But I think what they're going for and what we'll eventually see in maybe 4 to 5 years, once they get everybody aligned, once they get, the wheels greased and the engine's turning and all the things you do. I don't know. Do you grease wheels in a car? I'm not a mechanic. You grease an engine, I think. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about there. But I do know that what they would love to see happen is they just released Starfield in 2023. They would love to have Elder Scrolls 6 out by 2025 or 2026. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen because, right, these are all new changes that they're making. Elder Scrolls just went into pre-development, right? It's not even in proper development yet for what we know, last we heard. But then after that, it's all the buzz going around that we're waiting. Everyone's excited about Fallout because of the new TV show, because of the new series that just launched, which is amazing. Definitely go and check that out. But are we happy with waiting another 5-6 years for Elder Scrolls 6 to come out? And then another 5-6 years for Fallout 5 to come out? No way. They want to get this stuff aligned. They want to get everything running smoothly to where we can get Starfield, Elder Scrolls, and Fallout. At least one main entry in each of those franchises, not to speak of DLCs or expansions or like a New Vegas type offshoot of that. They want to get at least one main entry in each of those franchises in each console generation. Now, I know we talked a lot about, the buzz is going around a lot about consoles and are consoles going away and yada, yada, yada. Maybe eventually with the way things are going, maybe eventually, but not in the next 10 years. There will be a PlayStation 6. There will be the next Xbox. There will be most likely the next iterations after that. Not so sure about after that, maybe 15 years down the road. But each console generation, they want at least one entry into each of those franchises. And as we've heard and seen Todd Howard talk about in like all of his interviews that he's done in the past 3 years, he always says, listen, we would love to get these things out quicker. We would love for there to be less development time. But it just seems like the way they do things now and the team that they have available to them to do all this, it's not possible. So, looks like Microsoft is moving some things around to try to make that support system possible for them to churn out these games. How is this going to turn out? How is this going to affect the overall quality of the products? How is it going to affect the overall feel? I'm not sure. We'll have to wait. But that is my That's my hot take. That's my hot take, that we asked for this. We just didn't know it would look this way. And I don't say that cheekily either, like tongue-in-cheek. I don't say that in a flippant manner. People are losing their jobs today, and that just sucks. So that's what I think. Tell me how you disagree with me. Tell me if am I missing something in kind of the meta-analysis of this. Did I miss anything here that's important for people to know? Leave it in the comments. I'll be in there for the next day or so, responding, highlighting, all that stuff. I appreciate you guys in the community. Sorry this had to be kind of a bummer video, but this is important to cover. I wanted to come out with like a, hey, here's seven things you missed in, the last update video for Starfield. That would have been fun to make. Maybe I'll feel better about all this and make one tomorrow. But for now, this was most important to talk about today. Hey, I appreciate all of you. Thank you for watching and tuning into my channel, my little area of the universe. For now, may you find wonder as you journey through the stars. I'll see you in the next video.